Very cold tonight with wintry showers in the north. There'll be rain, sleet and snow for a time in southern areas. Lowest temperatures of -2 to +1 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
OK, so Champions League this evening should be good. Real Madrid against Manchester City. We have Lyon against Juventus as well. Damien Delaney in studio for the evening. We will be talking to Ronan O'Gara come 7:30. Twickenham still looming large in the memory, and the game against the Italians is off as expected, so that has been confirmed today. And then Jarlath Burns is hoping to be the 40th president of the GAA on Friday. The vote happens on Friday at Congress, so he's in studio this evening between 8 and 9. 53106 is the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Damien Delaney, hello.
How are you?
You okay?
Good, very good, yeah.
Fix your mic there for me, because that's going to drive things a bit crazy. And Richie McCormick in studio as well. Hello.
How are you, Joe? You all right?
I'm all right, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Ireland's game with the Italians officially off. That's the headline news today.
Yeah, it is. We'll start there. Ireland's Six Nations game with Italy postponed due to fears over the coronavirus. The women's and under-20s games next weekend have also been called off. IRFU Chief Executive Philip Brown confirmed the news following discussions today with Department of Health officials.
No? Nothing? Will we wait? OK, we have nothing. We'll have to take your word for it, Richie.
Philip Brown definitely met with officials, definitely confirmed that the game is off, and definitely said it's down to fears over the coronavirus spreading, and they're happy enough to go along with whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well,
that's exactly what happened last night,
Yeah.
effectively. Yeah.
He was at pains, I saw, before he read out the statement, just to say, look, I know it may have looked as if there was a bit of tension this morning between the IRFU
That
and...
statement last night was very,
That was a testy statement last night.
Yeah, and then
We want specific reasoning was the actual phrase they used behind Minister Harris's.
There was a real thanks for telling us vibe about it.
There was. It sounded like someone just quickly hashed that together and threw it out there, and then they went to see the minister and got told, basically, don't ever do that again.
To be fair, you would figure that with as much financial stake that will be in a game like this, a home game, and we only get 3 of them in the Six Nations a year, maybe even 2. But you would figure that they would be informed beforehand that this specific thing, it's not as if that the health department were implementing a travel ban, which would have, just been, okay, there's a travel ban, that's us told.
Yeah.
It's specifically, this game isn't happening, this game is happening under your jurisdiction, but the IRFU weren't told. It's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but it's also something that, protocol-wise probably should have happened.
Is there any news yet on what you do if you're a ticket holder?
Hold on to them, says the IRFU, for, the hope that they will get the game rescheduled, but they say eventual refunds will happen as soon as possible as well if that rescheduling isn't possible. Either way, obviously, you're going to need to keep hold of your ticket or proof of purchase. Meanwhile, Six Nations organisers, perhaps more interestingly, say all other matches are currently scheduled to go ahead as normal, and that includes England's trip to Italy in the final weekend.
Interesting, because I did wonder if the Six Nations might say, well, look, instead of having a match here and a match there and a bit of a mishmash, that we just actually postpone the whole thing for the time being. Maybe logistically that's too much of a mess with top 14 and Premiership rugby. But I saw even in France a second death confirmed today. Ireland go to Paris in the final round. England going to Rome. I don't know. This would be a fast-moving story, so who knows?
I'd imagine what they're going to do is similar to what Inter are doing against Ludogorets and similar to what's going to happen in Serie A across the next while, behind closed doors games. So once players are fine and officials are fine, then the game is good enough to go ahead. It's just they can't go ahead in front of spectators, and that would seem to be common sense. Unless you arrive at a situation whereby, seeing as Ireland's game with Italy is off, I don't know if you can have... Do you know the way they do in ice skating, your best and worst scores are actually chalked off your score, whether or not the Italy games are chalked off entirely across the slate, and that decides who wins the Six Nations. That's when it becomes messy.
And I would think as well the IRFU are saying these matches are worth a lot of money to us. I know Italy is Italy, but it still sells out. They still have a huge corporate intake, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have a massive amount of dates at the Aviva Stadium as the Irish rugby team per year. Yeah. So one of them falling by the wayside is a massive dent in their finances. Bigger picture, obviously, but still massive.
Sure. Look, bigger picture, it's incidental. Cheltenham then are talking, are they?
Yeah, it seems that will go ahead as planned, despite fears over the spread of the coronavirus. Officials have confirmed that the National Hunt Blue Ribbon is not under threat. Ian Renton's the managing director of Cheltenham Racecourse, and he provided an upbeat update today.
As you say, we've had lots of things in the past. I mean, last year we had equine flu and high winds as a risk. The previous year we had the beast from the east. We're normally sent to cope with most of these things leading up to the festival. There's always going to be some risk, but at the moment we really look forward to a fantastic festival in a fortnight's time. There have been 13 cases of the virus in this country. Long may that continue, and as I say, the government are doing a great job, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so.
On the theme, the Irish boxing squad have left their training camp in Italy due to concerns over the coronavirus outbreak. They'd been in Assisi ahead of next month's Olympic qualification tournament in London. The team are due back in Ireland today.
So with the Euros upcoming, with the Olympics upcoming, the world of sport is clenching right now.
Whatever, like with Tokyo and all that, that there are worries, and Dick Pound mentioned yesterday that there are a lot of it's not just the athletes descending on Tokyo from the start of August, whatever it is. It's a case of there are, marketing teams coming in, there are broadcast teams coming in, there are recce people going out to see what the story is. So there's a lot of people in and out of Tokyo surrounding the games, starting from late spring. And that's going to be the main concern.
Has the virus taken hold in Tokyo?
I don't think so. But the thing about it is, if it is becoming a pandemic, then that becomes your concern. What is going to be a worry is the Euros, because you have that many people crisscrossing countries across Europe.
The worst possible year for that.
Thank you, Michel Platini, for this.
We can't pin the coronavirus on him.
But I can pin the poxy organising of 18.
You're not so sure. Yeah, that's one of your various conspiracy theories, is it?
Well, just so happens.
What podcast have you been listening to now? Please, if you want some tin hat stuff, Damien Delaney's podcast schedule is out there. Just think of like a man in his mum's basement talking about various conspiracy theories.
I want you to think about conspiracy theories. Just call them theories.
Okay.
You're not a flat earther, are you?
Oh, no. No, nothing like that.
Oh, Grant, you draw the line there. That's good to know.
So, we'll have to see how it all goes. Euro 2020. That's what do you do? You can't really bump it to 2021. Maybe you can. World Cup qualifications underway.
You can't. 2021's a nightmare because they're going to have the inaugural massive Club World Cup on then as well. Like the 2021 summer schedule is something that Klopp's already given out about.
Does Stephen Kenny take over if the Euros are on in 2021? Get a call into the FAI.
Good God.
It's a hell of a question.
Jeez, do you really want to tug at that string?
They'd have to go to court. The contract.
It would have to be a situation if that does come to pass, and it's.
Could you imagine though if Mick said, "Well,
look,
look, I'm here for Euro 2020. Therefore, if it is moved, I am the manager for 2020. But whilst World Cup qualification matches are ongoing, Stephen Kenny says, well, I am the coach for the
contingency has to be
World Cup.
Staged in one country. That's got to be it.
Oh yeah, Germany could turn that around in a few months.
Germany or England can knock it out. No.
Well, actually, can they though? Really? Probably not. Probably not.
It would have to be cancelled.
We're going to look back on this in like 3 months' time and wonder what we were talking about at all.
Oh yeah, no, this is just pure speculation. Yeah. But if cancelled as opposed to rescheduled, there's too much money at stake.
I think that this coronavirus will be clamped down on fairly quickly, I'd say.
That's because you listen to some conspiracy theory. They have the jab ready to go. They just want to wait until they make the most money, says Damien Delaney.
That's not the case.
So, that's where we are. So good news from Cheltenham, and then the Six Nations games all going ahead as things stand.
Yeah, so
Grant. That's
minimal,
where we are.
Fuss. Elsewhere, Rangers are through to the last 16 in the Europa League. A second half goal from Ryan Kent gave Stephen Gerrard's side a 1-0 win away to Braga this evening to complete a 4-2 aggregate victory. Yanis Hadji also missed a Rangers penalty on the stroke of half time this evening. But on to the main course. Manchester City are away to 13-time champions Real Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League tonight. The teams are in. For Real, Thibaut Courtois starts in goal. It's a back four of Dani Carvajal, Sergio Ramos, Rafael Varane and Ferland Mendy. In midfield, it's Luka Modric, Casemiro, Federico Valverde and Isco, with Vinicius Jr. in support of Karim Benzema. For City, Ederson starts in goal. Their back four is Kyle Walker, Aymeric Laporte, Nicolas Otamendi and Benjamin Mendy. In midfield is Rodri, Ilkay Gundogan and Riyad Mahrez. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus are their front three. Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero, and Fernandinho are all on the bench for City tonight. Gareth Bale on the bench for Real Madrid. Elsewhere, City lodged their appeal against their 2-year ban from European football with the Court of Arbitration for Sports today. A date for their hearing is yet to be confirmed.
Okay, Damien Delaney, talk to me about this Manchester City team. Sterling on the bench straight away.
Interesting.
He hasn't been in good form, and he's also been telling Madrid how much he loves them as a club recently.
He's been out injured, to be fair to him as well.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the team that he's picked. It's Gundogan for me.
Gundogan and Rodri as your two in midfield.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I mean, Rodri not bad because, I think going to the Bernabeu, he'll be used to that atmosphere. He'll be used to the way Real play, so I wouldn't be too upset with that. Gundogan for me is kind of a squad player at City at the moment. He's a decent player, but this is where you're 11, your best 11 are on the pitch.
Who goes in? It's interesting, Fernandinho on the bench, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, now that there's a midfield slot opened up, I thought he'd be in there, but maybe he prefers Rodri for the reason I just stated.
Is it possible that Fernandinho playing as centre half has in some way lost his midfield fitness?
No,
because let's be honest, you lads don't do much running compared to midfielders.
Well, that's true. No, I wouldn't say that. I think Rodri being ex La Liga, probably playing to his thinking there a little bit. I think Fernandinho,
terrain kind of thing.
Yeah, Fernandinho's probably come himself hard done by that. He has been playing centre back all season.
Jesus ahead of Aguero, big night.
Yeah, unless he thinks that Real Madrid are going to dominate the ball, and maybe he's looking for legs to counter attack, and maybe Sergio Aguero isn't the best for that. Maybe he thinks he needs legs to close down. Maybe he thinks along the lines of getting Aguero on after an hour when the game is settled would be better. But Riyad Mahrez is the one that sticks out at me most. I mean, he is your...
He's not in the squad, is he?
He's playing.
He's playing.
Sorry, he's playing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at the subs bench.
Yeah, that's the one that sticks out at me the most because I
He's very good against Leicester. And
I know, but he's the type of player they play when Raheem needs a rest, and Raheem, unless he's injured, I'm not sure, but very, very interesting lineup.
He's out with a hamstring for 3 weeks, and he's been.
now
I don't
sore,
want to say he's been rushed back, but he's back ahead of schedule from the injury that he picked up.
Sorry, I just shoot me down here, but is David Silva now so past it that he should not be starting on a night like this?
Yeah.
He is that past it?
Yeah. I think I've watched him this season. I won't say he's past it, but he's not...
For a night like this?
Not the player that he was. I mean, he can still taunt a Watford or Crystal Palace without doubt.
You don't need to always use Crystal Palace as the example.
Well, it's just kind of like a steady, mediocre kind of Premier League team. Not mediocre, but, mid-table.
Average.
Yeah, but games that City would normally...
Poor.
Bang average.
I did not use any of those words.
No, I know what you mean, but he made the Champions League knockout stages.
This is cutting-edge stuff, really, where you need your legs, really. But having said that, if City are kind of chasing a goal with 10 minutes to go and Real Madrid took the foot off the gas, he might not be a bad player to bring on because he can make those passes. But yeah, I think these nights have definitely passed him by. And
is it that he's just lost a bit of sharpness over the first few metres, or is it actually his legs, across 90 minutes are gone?
Yeah, I don't think he could last. I think an hour would be the max you'd get out of him. And I think,
but in short space, in short pockets, is he still?
Yeah, of course. But then you look at the midfield players they're going to be up against him. They'd run right over the top of him, and maybe he doesn't have the same kind of fluidity that he had before. We could pop up in pockets of space and things like that. And you got to take into account as well they're at the Bernabeu, so maybe Pep was expecting not to be in complete control of the game like they normally are. Yeah, I'm not too sure where Real Madrid are. Certainly their form has improved massively under Zidane. They lost at the weekend against Levante. The word seems to be that actually they've just become tough to beat.
It's a very conservative side compared to what we've seen from previous Real Madrid outfits, particularly when you look at that midfield.
They're winning lots of games 1-0 by all accounts.
Yeah, you look at that midfield that has, what we're going to say?
Modric, Casemiro,
Valverde, and then Isco up in front of them. Like, that's a midfield built to contain and maybe spread the odd pass around, but it's not one that's going to create an awful lot. It's not the Toni Kroos. I don't think they're in the headspace to play like they used to play, for being honest. Hence the reason maybe Zidane's just working with what he has at the minute. Hazard being out is obviously a huge loss for him. And maybe he's looking for another transfer window next year to really put a stamp on what he needs. What do you reckon is going to happen this evening then? Madrid's dominate the ball, you've said a few times. I think Madrid will more than likely dominate the ball. If I'm being honest, I think it's too close to call. I couldn't say it. Should be a great game. I couldn't say, this could be, you never write Real Madrid off because the big players will always show up in big occasion. Of almost any other team, you saying Madrid will dominate the ball wouldn't rankle with me in any way. But when it's Manchester City, can Manchester City in a Pep team, as Pep teams, admittedly better teams have done in the past, go to the Bernabeu and just keep the ball? Like, okay, the crowd, the referee, the atmosphere, first 5 minutes maybe that's a factor. But then when it settles down, should City not be able to keep the ball better than any team? They should be, but I mean, Real Madrid have got some real technically good players there, and the confidence of playing at home. What I'm really looking forward to tonight, actually, is watching Pep when he's not the favourite. Everything isn't aligned for him. Can you win a game you're not supposed to win? Because Pep is very, very good at winning games that he should win, and winning trophies that he should win. I mean, tonight and this test really
and there's no doubt he's a fantastic coach, but can he drag a performance like Klopp can out of Liverpool? Thinking Barcelona at home last year, against all odds, where tactics board is thrown out the window and it's just pure emotion, and just can you get your players in a headspace to deliver a result? I don't want to say Pep's never done that, but I'd like to look at how many times Pep has. And I know this has been thrown at him before, but Man City are 2-0 down away at Bernabeu. Can they come back and win 3-2? Something out of the ordinary, as opposed to a very, very technically perfect performance and get all your good players firing and you win a game you're supposed to win.
Because that type of performance you're looking for is probably what you need somewhere along the way of winning a Champions League.
Listen, they're going to need 2 or 3 of them if they're going to win the league, the Champions League. Because they're not as good as what they were. I think Laporte coming back is a good one, but then Laporte comes back and Otamendi comes back in alongside him.
But by the way, Laporte looked rusty as hell.
Oh, amazing. I mean, he looks like he has been rushed back.
Oh, he looked like a guy who's like, this is a lot faster than training.
He looked like he had 2 training sessions and they went, you know what, we're going to get you fit in the game, so just get in there against Leicester.
Asked to come off against Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, you without doubt. I mean, normally his protocol would be 3 or 4 weeks to return to play, from when he's declared fit.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks with the strength and conditioning coaches, a week in and out, and then a week's training. But it looks like he was made fit, trained twice, and you go, because we need you. We haven't got time for this. But that's essentially the biggest thing I'm looking for right now at the moment is, can Pep do something where you go, oh my God,
they found a way.
Well done.
Lyon then will host Juve, Rich.
Yeah, that's the other game this evening, also kicking off at 8 o'clock. Ahead of the game, Lyon have threatened their own supporters with legal action. They say they'll pursue anyone posting abusive, defamatory, threatening content related to the club. It follows a series of social media posts depicting President Jean-Michel Aulas and head coach Rudy Garcia as clowns.
Lads, if Ireland were playing in Rome and you had booked your flights and your hotels, would you A, stay at home, B, travel anyway?
Travel anyway. There's still going to be 5,000 Italians in Dublin on Saturday, Sunday, whenever it was.
Yeah, it is a real mishmash approach. Like, there's no travel ban, but they've cancelled the game.
I think what they're worried about is 50,000 people in a confined space.
In one place.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Gents, how will they stop the Italians from travelling when they have their flights and hotels booked anyway? Wonders Frank. When you were talking there about the Champions League, lads, a few minutes ago, a thought struck me. Back in the 90s, I would not have missed a Champions League match, especially the big games. But now I just couldn't care less, and I know I'm not the only one. A joke of a tournament now, very hard to get excited about. It's a bit harsh in the knockout stages, surely.
I cannot even think of where he's coming from there. I mean, tonight is the night, like.
I can. Tonight's, the last 16 is too spread out. It's over the course of, a couple of weeks.
You do get to see every game is the upside.
You don't really. You could miss out on one per night because they're both on at 8 o'clock.
You can't stretch it out over a year. I mean, come on.
Right, yeah. But, and it's, for a lot of people, squirreled away behind a paywall. So people have kind of lost interest in that respect, because people, when he's talking about the 90s and the glory days, it's on ITV and it's on RT2.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Rich. I can't. I don't buy that. I mean, the game tonight is just, this is what football was made for. There's just so many questions that need to be answered, and watching it unfold. Okay, well, he just can't get excited about it because, what did he say?
I get the impression, he said, look, he struck me as the fella that grew up in the 90s. And
was it the football's gave it away, Joe?
Football's just not what it was then, Champions League isn't what it was new and it was shiny, but
there's a lot.
I don't know about that either. I just think Champions League has been brought on massively. I think it's the
sorry,
the
best. I'll rephrase it then. The group stages nowadays,
complete waste of time.
Take or leave.
I agree.
But back in the day, Man United against Olympiacos, that was the biggest.
Is that more your kind of having back your childhood and oh my God,
and that's
sitting at home with your dad watching the
100%.
You know what I mean?
That's why
Man United lose to Besiktas or some Turkish team.
Yeah, what happened there? But that's why I bring up, he mentioned the 90s. So I think that applies to the group stages.
That's more his emotional attachment to that, as opposed to actually, looking at the football is tonight's the best standard you're probably going to get in world football.
Yes.
Probably that's ever been, because every year keeps getting better.
You used that phrase off air actually when we were watching Liverpool Atletico, I think even.
Go on, what did I say?
Well, I think you said that. You said just that this is actually as good. This is the best football that has ever been in the history of the flat earth that we live on. That's exactly what you said.
Listen, cue the hundreds of texts about the Dutch in '74 and you know what I mean, and that's coming 100% now. But I just think at the moment the way football's evolving, it's getting better. The players are fitter, the pitches are better, the footballs are quicker, the whole kind of showpiece is much better. It is like, you look back at those Champions League games from before. You're looking at Man United playing at Old Trafford on an absolute cabbage patch against a Turkish team, and granted, it was there's a beauty in that as well. But tonight is just going to be absolutely perfect. Who's the best players? Who's the fittest team?
Few people texting in to say Man City are favourites. Man City are 7-2 favourites to win the Champions League. Madrid are 14-1. This is not the Madrid of years past, says Michael and Kerry. Lads, tell Damien their City are favourites to win tonight.
I
disagree.
Well, I won't disagree. I just think I said to you I couldn't call a winner, you know. I just think that Real Madrid at home, big players on a big occasion, will put all their league form behind them, and the big players will show up tonight, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
Agreed. Sharapova?
She today announced her retirement from tennis at the age of 32. The former world number one struggled with shoulder problems since her comeback and recently fell to 373rd in the WTA rankings. Sharapova won 5 Grand Slam titles during her career, including the very first of those at Wimbledon in 2004. She was banned for 15 months, you might remember, after failing a drugs test for meldonium at the Australian Open in 2016.
That kind of that is the legacy ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah, she fails the drugs test, does not come back anywhere close to the same player, and that's the massive black mark in her career.
It is, yeah. And like if you dig into it, there was a major shoulder injury in recent years which affected her form, but that'll be forgotten. It'll be meldonium for however long, a decade, and then
comes
drugs
to
test.
a grinding halt. 16 months, and even despite numerous false starts, never really got back to it.
Yeah. Wrestling doping story?
Yeah, wrestler Peter Newty has been handed a 3-month suspension for an anti-doping rule violation. A sample provided by the 21-year-old at the Irish Open Championship last November tested positive for the banned substance carboxy-THC. His competition results since the 2nd of November 2019 have also been disqualified.
The 90s kids are chiming in.
I knew this would just open an absolute
Also a 90s kid, says Darren. Champions League, too spread out, and not being on terrestrial TV has absolutely affected the excitement levels for him. Lads, I couldn't agree more with the texture about the quality and excitement of the Champions League. It was more exciting back then, behind the paywall. Kids no longer as interested. Teams buying their way to the top, etc. Owen and Dundalk. The 90s kids have spoken.
You see, they're all like peripheral issues. I'm talking about the between the 4 white lines.
The games that we're going to see.
That's what we're going to watch. I mean, if you want to dig into that, of course, I am with them, and I was massively, sitting at home watching ITV, listening to the commentators, and just be like, I'm in awe of this.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. But I think once you strip away all the emotion and everything, and the football you're going to watch tonight is going to be, and again, I know this is going to open another horn, says I think it's the best football that you're going to see. It's the fittest players.
But is that the best product for a television audience?
I mean, the knockout stages games the last 5 years have been off the charts.
I agree.
They have been. They have been better than like United against Porto. Although that 4-0 Porto win was a good one.
I don't necessarily think it's the same point. Is it from bell to bell the same engaging contest that it used to be?
But are you just not older or more cynical now, as opposed to the kid that didn't notice anything else that was going on, and it was just the game?
Definitely.
And you're now old enough now, and you're factoring in things that have just tainted your belief in football, and you're just an unhappy kind of Power City.
I'm generally unhappy anyway, Damien. You know that.
So I think our age and unhappiness is a big factor now. Yeah.
And it's been apparent for many years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think from bell to bell, it's a different. From a viewer's point of view, it's a different product than what it was before, and the increased technicality of it, I don't think, has been to its spectacle benefit.
Or do you like the wildness of lads not keeping the ball as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
This Saturday, by the way, Roadshow, Aviva Stadium, with thanks to Pepsi Max, proud partner of the UEFA Champions League. We will have Stilian Petrov, Jason McAteer, Brian Kerr, Stephanie Roach, David Myler, and the Champions League trophy there. For tickets, offtheball.com/events, all with thanks to Pepsi Max, maximum taste, no sugar, # for the love of it. Lads, can Damien run through his podcast playlist? Absolutely not. So we'll have Jarlath Burns after 8 o'clock, and Ron Nogara up next.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Have a great evening with itsforwomen.ie. Don't live your life on hold. Get a quote now at itsforwomen.ie and see why we're trusted by over 130,000 women in Ireland.
Bring the day. Bring the